Hey there, I'm Alex, the host of Creator Spotlight from The Interface. The show finished its second season earlier this year, and we're gearing up to launch the third season on the 6th of November. We have some great guests this time around, from Alex Goy, a legend in the automotive journalism space, to Tom Matthews, the creator of GTA Top Gear on YouTube, as well as many more. Find us on the podcast section on theinterface.uk or in your favourite podcast app. Just search Creator Spotlight.
Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to Crosswires, the technology podcast where we try and look at things from a more wide angle of technology. That is, by the way, partially a pun on some of the tech in the episode, but that's okay. And I have to apologise. We have been absent for a little bit longer than we would like, and the reports of our pod fading have been greatly exaggerated. We are here. Here's the deal, all right? So over the summer, I moved into a new role at work, which means my schedule changed earlier this month. My responsibilities at work have gone all the way up there.
And your stress level at work has gone way up there.
Do you know what? In some ways it has, in some ways it hasn't. Honestly, it's been a really good move. But also something far more important happened over August. Somebody came to visit, and something may have happened.
Wait. I know Alex visited you and Alex were at the air show for one of the nights.
Jay, you were there and you know full well. Okay, look, here's the deal. For those of you who haven't already figured this out, because Jay's blasted it everywhere on social media, I'm very, very, very pleased to say that me and Jay are now engaged. So please don't ask when the wedding's going to be. Honestly, we don't know at this point because we've got to sort out all the immigration stuff for Jay. So please, as a favour, don't ask us when the wedding's going to be.
And don't be that coworker who tells you that the engagement ring's not an engagement ring, because I want to punch them in the face. That's not a record. This is not recorded.
Wow. Okay. Jay lets her feelings out. Anyway, before we get into today's topic, which, well, you might have guessed it from the episode title and what's been going on, but we are going to be talking about Apple's most recent event, and in particular, probably the iPhone 15, and I think in particular the iPhone 15 Pro. Now, of course, alongside me is my beautiful co-host and my fiance, and Jay. You have so long before you allowed, like, you could keep using fiance to introduce me on the show for a while. But anyway, please welcome, as always, Jay.
Oh, thank you. And now, question though, what do I call you afterwards, right? Because I mean, it'll be a while before I can call you my husband. So.
You call me James is what you call me.
Okay, fiance.
Oh, jeez. I'm decidedly not in any sort of relationship with us, apart from a friendship. Please welcome back as a returning guest. And to be fair, at this point, I think almost a default for our Apple event coverage, Alex from The Interface. Hello, Alex.
Hi, how you doing? It's good fun to talk about the Apple stuff, to be honest. It's really good. So we did the episode in June, didn't we? So
yeah,
all good.
It was really good, and we all got to hang out a little bit and watch some very disappointing fireworks, didn't we, back in August?
If we had been closer, we could have seen the vision of those professional fireworks.
No. Jay, there wasn't even a Vision Pro in this event. That was one of the worst.
Well, technically, it was technically in the event.
Okay, all right.
One of the announcements.
All right. Now, before we go into... Because Jay has watched the keynote again. Well, maybe for the first time.
For the first time. I had a busy last few weeks, dear. So.
But Jay's got the most recent experience. But before we go into that, I think we should probably just go round the table and say, has anyone bought anything from the event? I can say decidedly no. I have not, as much as I want. And I'll be honest, it would be either a 15 Pro or a 15 Pro Max. And the Pro Max tempts me because of some of the camera features. Jay, I think you're the same.
Well, I mean, obviously the phone would go really well with my titanium ring. So, I mean, we could get one of the titanium iPhone Pros. I mean, if that fits in our budget.
Unless the listeners donate quite an amount of money, no.
Crosswires.net/tips if you want to give me an iPhone. Anyway,
buy Jay an iPhone, folks. Please buy Jay an iPhone. No, genuinely, though, I think, and we're going to come to why. But Alex...
Yeah, I picked up the iPhone 15 Pro. I was long overdue for a phone upgrade. It's 4 years since I had the 11 Pro in 2019.
Okay.
So it was I had already had a battery replacement on it last year, and I use it a lot for filming, so decided to get one this year. So
awesome. And that indeed is something I want to talk to you about, because I've got a question for you both. Because Alex, you're actually, is this for 15 Pro you're using now? No, it's not. Is it for the camera? No. Okay, this is just for IMAX camera.
That's the iMac camera. Yeah,
it's not bad.
It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the viewers can't see this because this is just audio, but you know.
Can I say one thing really that stood out for me on the camera? By the way, I noticed the individuals that they were using in it were especially not white individuals, but like black individuals, Asian individuals who have a lot more of a depth of texture,
a different tone mapping, as it were.
Yes.
But different requirements for capturing.
And it looks really well. At least from a white perspective, it looked really well. And I was pretty impressed. And because I know that's been a fault of cameras, that it captures white people really well, and not so much other races
or other skin tones as well. Because well, races is the right term, but of course, even within Caucasian white, we all have different skin tones as well. So it's really important that that's captured well. Now, before we go into the phone, because there's so much we can talk about, Jay, do you want to give us the highlights reel of the event, and then me and Alex can sort of chime in on different things that maybe you think are interesting, and we can sort of chime in if there's anything we think is good. So
start from the top, or
start from the top. Let's do it.
Okay, first thing in the presentation that really stuck out to me was how the iPhone and Apple Watch have saved lives, and it was quite amazing to see all the stories of people who never thought they would live another day, and the iPhone saved their life, either like because of something to do with the heart, being stranded somewhere. And it is quite amazing because these are not devices that are built for that as its main focus. It's built as your watch or your phone, and its auxiliary aspect. Last year when they announced these, they said that these were features we hope you never use. And it's cool to see how they've been there. I mean, even when I was traveling and I was sick that one day, my Apple Watch said, your heart rate is highly elevated. And I mean, I was sick, but it was definitely like we were watching my heart rate to see if there's any reason I needed to not travel the next day. And it's,
I mean, you were just looking for an excuse, to be honest with you.
I wanted to stay another 5 months.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, because I'm obviously, I think, Alex, you are an Apple Watch wearer, if I remember correctly. I just can't remember which one you're wearing at the moment.
Yeah. I've got the Series 5 at the moment, so it's the same age as my old phone, I guess.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm on a Series 8. I think Jay's on a 7. But they are brilliant. Like, one of the things I love about my Series 8 is the blood oxygen detection. I think that was in the 7 as... Oh, no.
No, it was, because it was telling me that my blood oxygen level was elevated.
You mean, no, it would be lower. Your blood oxygen would be lower if you're
What
ill.
was the thing that, sorry.
It said, no, it's okay. It said your heart rate was elevated.
That's right.
I think I am not sure, but I think the blood oxygen...
Oh, no, I've got blood oxygen on here.
Okay, so it is in the Series 7. It might even been... Do you know what? I just can't remember off the top of my head what's in what.
It's the Series 6 and onwards, I think, with blood oxygen.
I think you're right. I think you're right with that one. Yeah, because the Series 8, I think, has got the fold... Actually, I'm not sure. I think... Oh, I'm forgetting what's in each watch.
I've got to that point now.
But to echo Jay's point, which she made really well, these watches are, for most of us, are just a fashion piece or utility. But fall detection, crash detection in the latest watches, blood oxygen, ECG, heart rate. I mean, even in the Watch SE, I think you've got heart rate. You don't have ECG. I don't think you've got blood oxygen in the SE.
No.
But you still got crash and fall detection in the SE, at least for...
I don't think there's crash detection on the SE, but I think there is some of the other features, though.
Let me just double check. Because there's been 2 generations of the SE, hasn't there?
I don't think there has. Might be wrong. Yeah, you are right, James. Yeah, hasn't got ECG, but it's got crash detection. Yeah, I lost track.
Okay. Well, yeah, because this is the 2nd generation SE. Yeah. So, which is really interesting. I mean, my mum's got that generation. I think, doesn't your partner have an SE as well? Yeah.
But the first gen.
the first gen. Now, the SE is such a good value watch. Honestly, I can highly recommend it to people. All right, Jay, beyond saving lives, what else stood out to you?
Well, they're also working on saving the environment. I was really impressed by the visit from Mother Nature. One, I love the actress who played Mother Nature. She is just one of my favorite actresses, and whenever she shows up, I love it. But they even used this presentation to call themselves out on where they weren't maybe moving fast enough, and they really were like, okay, no, we're working on stuff. One of the biggest things that I thought was quite incredible was, one, it sounds like all of these iPhones have been laid.
Oh, you mean the virgin materials?
Yeah, they kept saying that they're reducing the use of virgin materials. And I just love that phrase. It was giggling. I'm so sorry for... Are
you suggesting that Apple popped the USB-C ports?
Yes!
Sorry, it's terrible.
But anyway... Terrible. I love the focus on reusing materials, because one thing about technology, the fact that we have these phones every year is a big environmental waste. I mean, how many of us have iPhones? And I like that they're like working on trying to reuse what we already have used and not use up the resources we have. The focus on its energy consumption, and that they're no longer using leather in their products, but using fine woven. And they're even making the packaging smaller. That one of the aspects of technology, I know we all love opening up Apple products, but you have to admit that the packaging, not as bad as many other companies, is pretty big. And you're like, what do I do with this after it's done? And this makes sense that it's going to be smaller and use materials that we don't need.
And I think Apple did, but now I will admit, when we said, oh, she's coming, I was thinking, have we got Greta Thunberg coming in? That was my first thought during that presentation. And the Mother Nature twist was quite nicely done. But it is good to see this. Now, fine woven has not exactly had the best reception so far, I don't think.
No, but it's also the first version of an Apple product. Yeah. And can we admit the first version of a lot of Apple products are not always the best?
Yeah, the original MacBook Air. I don't mean the 11-inch. I mean the original, the first gen manila envelope MacBook Air. And
I did not like the first Apple Watch. I admit that.
I had one, and yeah, I think that's why because they did a very interesting thing with that watch. That got renamed to Series 0, and they released a new version, Series 1, which was the Watch Series 2's processor in the Watch Series 1 feature set, which effectively means they knew that the Series 0 wasn't powerful enough. And also, I'm trying to think of other things. I mean, actually, I don't think we could say that the first version of Apple Silicon Macs were bad.
No, I've got an Apple M1 Mac, and it's performing so well.
Well, so does Alex. Alex is... in fact, we are all on Apple Silicon Macs right now. 2 Mac Minis and 1 iMac.
Also, watching, this is a prelude to later on. If you look at it, a lot of even the A chips are really M chips. Apple's been doing silicon in the iPhones for a long time. The Macs was just the next level of that, taking what they've learned in the iPhones to the Macs.
I think you're right. If I remember correctly, and I might be wrong on this, when they did the developer kit for the transition, that was an A12Z, I believe, in the developer kit.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, fun fact, did you know the Intel kit was a Pentium 4?
It's all about the Pentiums. Yeah.
It was basically a PowerMac G5 chassis with an Intel Pentium 4 in it. Which,
wow.
There you go. Pentium 4. Doesn't that take us back a bit?
That does.
Now, I want to ask you both a question, because I think I asked this at WWDC. I say we're past COVID, but of course there's more cases at the moment. But I am having to admit, I am really liking the no audience events.
Yeah, they had some people in the Steve Jobs Theatre again. So in events gone by, they'd have the empty theatre with Tim Cook there doing introductions. It looked a bit odd. And according to people that were there, they had some people there in the audience watching the video, I guess. But personally, I don't think they're ever going to go back to in-person events because they can control what's being said. Because do you remember, I think I mentioned this in June. Do you remember what happened with the iPhone 10? With
Face ID. Yeah,
someone mishandled the iPhone 10 backstage, and it basically locked the phone in it to put the password in. They're not going to do that again.
Well, one of the podcasts, I'm trying to remember which one it was, and I think it was Upgrade. I was listening to Upgrade, and they had talked about these. The biggest complaint we get about the Apple events are they're not exciting, and they said they're not meant to be. This is a commercial. Mm-hmm. This is when the press gets to hear all this stuff, and in a way, this allows them to be flashy for us, the press, but also, and some of the consumers, because, I mean, as Apple, we are part of the cult of Apple, and we do find these events fun, but it does allow them to also bring in presenters, because what I thought was pretty incredible, how often they would pass things on to everybody else and do different things. And so many of these presenters are not Steve Jobs, are not even Tim Cook. And Tim Cook has really come a long way, in my opinion, in his presentation skills and the ability to redo double takes, do different things, do voiceovers of the audio. So like all the cuts we don't see, it allows more people to present who may not have the skills that Steve Jobs had and that some of their more high profile presenters have.
And you talk about excitement, Jay. I mean, gone are the days where Phil Schiller would jump off a tower of Macs with an iBook G3.
Yes.
To demonstrate Airport, which was fun.
And I got to say, I want to know the behind the scenes of all these presentations, because that's some stellar graphic work that they do, and these virtual sets.
They are incredible. They are incredible. All right. Moving forward, Jay, carry on with the event for us.
So on that, we went into the Apple Watch, and on the Apple Watch, I want to start with the most amazing part of it is finding a way to make the Apple Watch with the Series 9 more accessible. The Apple Watch Series 9 now has double tap, a little similar to the Vision Pro controls that are on there. So probably some of the same learning that they've done with that. Now, interestingly, I found from Yahoo News, the Apple Watch Series 8 has a version of this called Assistive Touch. So it is built on a existing technology, but they are working on trying to make sure that the main action in an app, you just touch your thumb with your index finger twice, and the main action of that app will happen. So if you're going through your stacks of widgets, double tap, or if you're the one that scares me is if you're in bed with your Apple Watch, but who has that battery to be able to have an Apple Watch last overnight. But if you're in bed and you have the alarm go off, double tapping it, I could see doing that while I'm sleeping and be like, oh, I'm late for work.
So I'm just trying this literally now. I've just turned it on. And it's not.
This is great audio content.
Oh, yeah, it really is. Well, I'll thank
It's my fiance getting distracted again with tech.
No, I thought I'd test it live. Thank you, dear.
I know. I'm winding you up, dear.
I've just tried it. I can't figure out quite how it works. I'm not sure what that actually means yet.
Might need to do a video or something like that. There's probably some guide. You're probably doing it wrong, or...
Are you saying I'm doing things wrong, Jay?
No! You're implying more. But you know what? I can ask somebody if you're doing it wrong, because whether you have internet or not, they have moved a lot of serious processing on the Apple Watch into the neural processing engine on the...
I'm an US 9. Yeah, I'm a US 9 chip. Because that's been a theme with iOS 17, hasn't it? Moving more and more of Siri and dictation on device.
Which, from a privacy standpoint, is really good. The other standpoint I was thinking about, think about, I know there's all these computational things happening on the server, but that is one less thing that has to activate internet, cellular, all this stuff. So it does have a small impact on technology. Because every time I set a timer on my watch, it has to go to the cloud and back down. Whereas this, it just does it on the device. So it will reduce environmental impact, even on a very small level. It's just another thing that they're doing. But how many times have you been like, set my dang timer? I want that timer for 5 minutes just so I can know how long to steep my tea.
How very British of you. Yeah, I mean, Alex, how much do you use Siri on your watch, if at all?
When it activates, it's more annoying than anything else.
Oh, okay.
So I probably need to turn it off at some point, but very rarely. I always use the HomePod, whichever room we're in, so
Right.
For doing timers and things, but I very rarely use it, to be honest. So
I have to admit, I don't as much. I use it with the Crown. So if I need to, I'll activate it with a Crown because I find that handy. So there's a task at work where I need to leave 10 minutes between each batch. So I just go, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Yep.
I do that as well. That like if a department's saying they're going to get, for instance, my deli meats cut for a customer, I say I'll be back in like 20 minutes, and I set a timer or like different tasks I need to do at work. I do the same, but it's very annoying when something that either like the Wi-Fi is just down in a section of the store or my cellular connection, and I'm like, I just needed a timer on you. I didn't need you to go to the cloud to ask the God Siri up in the clouds to tell the little Siri to set a timer. I just want you to set a dang timer.
Yeah.
I'm very upset about this.
I mean, I guess we should probably talk, because look, again, they've cut out leather in the straps. I want to see what the new fine woven's like. I remember there's another one, isn't there? There's another fake leather band they're doing as well.
Yeah, and they're doing something with Hermes. I do not know all of the material on that one, but they're even trying to cut back on leather.
Well, except you can still, and this isn't, you wouldn't know this because it was in news, Hermes, you can still buy Hermes leather through Hermes.
Okay, so it's Apple themselves doing it. And then, which makes sense because there are there's always going to be third-party Apple Watch bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, and some of them are really good.
Yeah.
The Ultra 2, the Apple Watch Ultra 2, I mean...
can I bring up one?
I'm sorry.
Real quick.
Go on, yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up, too, that I like is Siri health queries. Just ask, like, Siri, it's coming later on, how am I doing on, like, steps or health and things like that. And precision finding with ultra-wideband, which one thing I never thought about, because it would have actually come in handy in August. If I get lost from somebody, I can actually use ultra wideband to find somebody. But like when I've been at the airport, I will actually use my watch to be like, okay, do I have everything? And where's my luggage? And like, it's actually worked really well in the airport because my watches because my phone's all put away and all that because I'm going through customs. But like, I just open up I'm in baggage claim, and the watch finds as like, your luggage is here, and so the fact that they're increasing that aspect is really cool. And yeah, I never even thought about using ultra wideband for friends, but it makes sense. If you're trying to find somebody, you just like pop a location, and then
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And ultra wideband, of course, means it can be more accurate for finding your keys or AirTags and things like that. So I think that's really, really cool. Is there anything anything else? Alex, any thoughts on the Watch Series 9?
When you bring it close to because that ultra wideband stuff, when you bring it close to a HomePod Gen 2 or HomePod Mini, it brings up what's been playing on the speaker as well, like a phone does.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I love those. The HomePod Gen 2, I mean, I've got 2 HomePod Minis, and I have to admit, there are times I'm like, no, I'm laying on my couch, on the sofa, and I'll get too close with my phone to my HomePod Mini, and it'll start trying to transfer music over. I'm like, no, don't do that.
It was nice when I was there. All I had to do to transfer music to your HomePod was to put my phone near it, and it was already playing it, and that was really cool.
Wait, hang on, your phone doesn't have ultra wideband,
but it still does.
Okay, yeah, it does. Yeah, true.
Yeah, even I got a iPad Pro 10.5 inch, and even with iOS 17, it's picking up the HomePod somehow and saying, "Do you want to do stuff with it?" So I'm not sure what's happening there, but pretty cool.
Maybe Bluetooth.
Yeah,
I'm going to guess probably Bluetooth and some of the like low energy stuff that it does already for AirDrop.
Yes, absolutely.
But
because a lot of this is there's a mix here between hardware features and stuff in iOS 17, WatchOS 10, but we already knew about from July.
Can I say one thing as we move into the Ultra? How much of this we take for granted nowadays? How much of what we do here that we just take for granted? And it's quite incredible. Like, looking at all these features. Oh, it's just a improvement on this function and this feature and all this. It's like, this would have been really cool. And we're just putting out like a footnote as we're going through the presentation.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely true.
But yes, the next ultra cool addition to the lineup was the Ultra 2, which a similar, more like a spec boost on the Ultra 1, but there's a brighter display, 3000 nits, which is pretty dang cool. I mean, if I had the money, I think I might actually want to go Ultra because it's nice to be able to see stuff outside. But yeah, brighter display, same battery life. I'm just trying to remember, is there more that they added to the Ultra 2?
The Ultra 2 is literally it's a Series 9 inside, essentially. And interestingly, someone I saw on Twitter said they upgraded from the Ultra 1 to the Ultra 2, and there were literally zero differences on the outside. So even the little etchings on the back, it says like the name of the watch and stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't even say it's an Ultra 2, it just says Ultra. So there was zero differences between the two watches on the outside, which is funny.
They do call it the Ultra 2 on the... Now, interestingly, they don't call it the Ultra Series 2, they call it the Ultra 2.
Yep. I guess Series 2 would be a massive mouthful, so...
Yeah, Apple Watch
Ultra
Series 2. It sounds like a command code or something, or like some like Power Rangers Megazord, Super Dino... No, doesn't matter.
I will say the one thing that was interesting was they added a new modular display that goes to even farther edges of the screen, and even has a new night mode on it.
But that's a watchOS feature.
Okay, so that's not
that will go to the Ultra 1 as well.
And they just put it there just as another, like if another marketing piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, a lot of the stuff they talked about, some of the stuff they talked about was software that they do. Because remember, WWDC is a developer event.
That's right.
A lot of the stuff they talked about is the consumer facing. Because your average consumer doesn't watch WWDC.
No.
I don't think.
Well, I don't know, because the videos on YouTube get a lot of views anyway.
That's true.
I think because watch this video because you're going to learn what's going to come to your phone later this year. So even the iPhone event had 29 million views on YouTube. Like I guess that's live plus on demand. Just crazy.
Well, and I was watching it today through the Apple TV app, and it was one of the things there. Before we move on the Apple Watch to the iPhone, I just want to make note that the Apple Watch, in specific case and band combinations, is the first Apple product that is carbon neutral.
Mm-hmm. With the Ultra 2, there's also a flashlight boost. So if you've got the flashlight turned on, you can spin the digital crown, it'll get even brighter. So that's pretty cool.
With the brighter display.
Yeah.
Which is nice, because, I mean, I actually need to... I've never used the torch on my watch, and I always forget about it. I usually just go to my phone, but it makes sense. And
then also, all the watches this year have got double the storage, I guess, to future-proof them a little bit more, because remember the Series 3 was really, really hampered.
Yes. That was bad.
Yeah, so all the watches have got 64 gigs versus 32 gigs now, which is pretty good.
So I think now, let's book a trip on over to a dynamic island, because all the iPhone 15 models have access to the dynamic island. And hopefully that'll mean that we get more developer uptake and more use of it. Because one thing I've heard is, just like the Touch Bar, and I was somebody who had a Touch Bar Mac, at least right now, the dynamic island, I've not used one in person, so I'm only speaking from what I've been reading, but everyone right now says it's like a major gimmick. But hopefully this leads more people using it now that it's there, because I like the idea of it.
But the 15 doesn't, because it got the dynamic island from the 14 Pro. What it didn't get was the always-on display, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's still in the display. Pro?
Yep. Yes. Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, maybe has the non-Pro models gone OLED yet? Or not? Are they all OLED?
That
might be the reason.
I think I'm not sure.
I can't remember the reason. Because I remember with the iPhone 12 and those sort of older phones, they had a liquid retina display, I think it was called.
And look at the specs.
Yeah, I can't quite remember. Super Retina.
It's a Super Retina XDR display.
Yeah, so it's... I saw even on the iPhone 14, they're all OLED then.
So all OLED, just not always on.
Yes, for whatever reason.
That's still pretty cool, though.
Yeah, definitely. And also the standard phones are still 60 hertz and the Pro ones are 120 hertz.
Yes, so. I heard people complaining about that. I'm like, but it's not the Pro phone. And some guy on YouTube, and it really wound me up, was going, even the cheapest Android phone has 120 hertz. Does it?
No.
I
wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, I mean, the Android tablets we use at work are not.
Exactly.
Can I say one thing that bugs me about the colors about the 15 and then the regular and then the Pro? You get all these cool colors on it of like blue, black, blue, green, yellow, pink, and then on the Pro model you get black titanium, white titanium, blue titanium, natural titanium, and I'm like, where's all the fun?
Yeah, for a long time the Pro ones have always been more subtle in their colors, and more metally and more sophisticated. Whereas with these 15s, I saw them in person over the weekend, and they're not as vibrant. Well, even in the pictures, they don't look that vibrant, but they're nowhere near as vibrant as that in person. The back bit is quite white in color, so they're not as bold as they used to be, the color-wise. So
no, you went for the Pro, is that correct?
Yeah.
Because I've been debating what my next phone will be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm debating if I go for the base model, the Plus, or if I go Pro. Because right now I got the Pro Max, and it's just too much phone for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a bit too big for me.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about the 50. I mean, one of the reasons I consider a Pro Max, because Jade, you meant go for a base model Pro or a Pro Max, right?
No, I meant going for the base model, the Plus, or if I go to the Pro because of the pricing and just the size.
Oh, would you consider an original iPhone 15 then?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you're really debating on all four models.
Exactly, because this is something you don't have to deal with. Fitting the Pro Max into purses is quite challenging.
I do know about carrying your Pro Max, so yes, let's. But I mean, I historically not.
Is that a Pro Max in your pocket, or never mind?
I'm cutting that out. No, that's a good joke. The reality is, I've typically been a Pro, this size, the standard, not the Max size, because I don't like that bigger phone. But as my eyesight's starting to get not worse, but I'm getting older, maybe the Pro Max is not a bad option. But what I think entices me most is that 5 times optical zoom.
Yes.
On the Pro Max. Now, Alex, you are a videographer. Well, you shoot a lot of video with your phone. You, I take it, won't use that zoom. So for you, the 15 Pro was enough?
Yeah. And also I can't. I've seen the bigger phones in person. It's just too big. And then the benefits of the cameras generally in history have always come to the bigger ones first. And then they've, like famously, the OIS, is that OIS? Optical image stabilization?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Came to the Pro phones first. And then they brought it to the smaller ones eventually. And same with the extra cameras and that sort of thing. So it'll come eventually once they figure out to make it smaller, but it doesn't really matter that much to me, to be honest. And we'll get to the shooting cameras of the phone a bit later, but there's some really cool stuff with how you film on the new phones. So,
interesting. I mean, the 15 did get renewed. Now, it's not the same as the 14 Pro, but it is a 48 megapixel sensor.
Yep.
Now, for a lot of people, that's going to be all the phone you need if you're not doing serious video.
Yep.
And even then, one thing that they really were touting in this on all the models of iPhone, they said, look, we know there's a limitation of it being a phone camera.
Yep.
That you can only fit it in like this little area of your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But what we also will be doing is augmenting that with computational photography done on device for your privacy, but finding ways to take the best of your photos and videos and try to give you what we think is the best version of it.
Yeah, so what it's doing with the new phones is it's actually not down sampling it. What's it doing? It's making pixels double the size.
Yes.
So
right.
my phone currently is double. It's on 24 megapixels, and you can even get it to do 12. So it makes the photos. I can't remember the exact phrases they use in the keynote, but it was something to do with they're confident now that it can be good enough quality at 24 megapixels.
Got you. And that's how they've given the iPhone 15 a 2x telephoto without an additional lens.
Yeah.
Which, and I mean, these new portrait photos, as Jay said, the diversity they showed in the photos is incredible, but also they are just beautiful. I don't know if you've tried them yet, Alex.
Well, what it's doing now is it's enabling portrait automatically somehow. It's like figuring out.
Oh,
because I noticed
that.
Yeah.
Are you? I know with the Pros, they especially mentioned a default lens or a default mode.
Yeah.
Are you somehow in that mode, or is it actually modifying it?
It's figuring out on the fly, like it does with HDR. If it's suitable enough to do portrait, it will do it by itself. So the icon for portrait mode is changed to an F, like the that F icon for how much how big the lens is, and it makes the image portrait, and you can even turn it off. So. And it's a live portrait photo as well now.
Oh, so it actually shows you what it's going to look like.
No, I mean it's a live photo, but with portrait, which is
that's really cool.
Yeah,
I really like these new cameras. Now the 15 Pro, of course, has the telephoto, which I think is it 3 times on the Pro,
5 times.
Well, there are some on Pro Max.
Oh, good shout!
I think it's 3 times on the Pro small one, the one I've got.
But again, I mean, beautiful camera system.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so the 15 Pro, the small one's got a ultra-wide main camera telephoto, and then, they're called super high-resolution photos, 24 and 48. So, and then next-generation portrait with focus and depth control. So yeah, so up to 10 times optical zoom on the Pro Max, and then it doesn't actually say what is available on the small one.
It doesn't. Well, hang on, it should be in the space. Yeah. It's interesting. But what it means, by the way, focal length-wise, on the Pro Max, that's 120 mil of zoom. Now, if I remember correctly, I think the narrowest lens, let me just have a look, because I'm assuming this hasn't changed. Yeah, 13 mil. So unless it's changed in the newer 14s and above, it goes from 13 mil on the Pro Max all the way up to 120 mil in one camera. That's impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Just those are, if you were to buy that sort of lens, that's an expensive lens. Now, give me, a 400 millimeter lens on my phone, and I'm happy. Honestly, I'd be very, very happy with that. I mean, you'd have to have a huge phone for that, but 120 mil is still pretty impressive. It's a 3 times optical zoom on the Pro for an effective range, an optical range of 6 times, and a digital zoom of up to 15. On the Pro Max, an optical of 10 and a digital of 25. Now, here's an interesting fact. My 13 Pro now goes up to 15 times.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which suggests, I think it's the same camera. In the telephoto camera, I think is the same between the 13, 14 and 15. Because that hasn't changed.
No.
It's still 12 megapixels.
Yep. Could likely be, yeah.
Yeah, so that's still incredible, really. Anyway, there is one thing we should probably talk about beyond... Actually, Alex, let me ask you this, because you do a lot of video recording. Because this leads into the next thing I want to really talk about is something that's maybe a bit... I don't know if it's controversial, but it seems to be, as usual, divisive online. Have you tried recording ProRes to an external hard drive yet?
No, not yet. I haven't had a chance to try it, but you can do a lot of stuff with it. So some people, I think Stephen Robles has tried it, and he's used the SD card adapter, the USB-C one, and he's recorded directly to an SD card, and it actually, if you plug it in, and enable Prologue, which what Prologue is a more data-rich format. So you get it with some like high-end cameras, and rather than the camera working out what color everything should be, it gives you a very, very dense file which looks very washed out, and then you can play around with the colors in post. Like DJI cameras have it, and sort of like SDSLRs. But their files are massive, and yeah, because of the USB-C port, which we'll get to in a bit. The flexibility for recording is expanded exponentially. So,
but only, and this is something we will touch on, only on the Pro and Pro Max, which
it's probably down to the chip.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, it is. That's a very good point. I mean, actually, let's talk about this. iPhone, bye-bye Lightning. I mean, well, mostly. Actually, that's a good point. Do you know what hasn't transitioned to USB-C yet?
AirPods Max.
Well, yes.
Yep.
But also the mouse, keyboard, and trackpad.
Yeah.
They're still Lightning.
Yep, they are. Which, means on my desk I've got to keep a Lightning cable plugged in to charge them.
To charge it.
Yeah.
I mean, turn your mouse upside down every couple of days to...
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's why.
It doesn't bother me.
That's why real podcasters use, like, gaming mice.
No.
I'm kidding.
I know. I do miss it. I would like to get one of the Magic trackpads, to be fair. I love a trackpad.
It's good.
And I had one and mine warped.
Warped?
It would no longer stay. It would.
Hang on. Was that one of the older ones, Rob, that had like the round bit at the top?
Yes.
Okay, I'm talking about one of the newer ones. But sure,
because that one it would like end up being like it would like wobble, and I'm just like, I'm done with this.
Wow. No. I want one of the new ones. I've seen one, but I can't afford it right now. Anyway, USB-C. So great for charging, right? Because now you just need one cable to charge the vast majority of your devices.
Yes. Now, one caveat that they mentioned also, AirPods Pro 2nd generation requires a new one because they're not selling a case for the old AirPod Pros.
That seems like a shame.
Yes.
But then again, look, if you've already got AirPods Pro, you've probably already got you've got a Lightning cable, and there's no reason you can't use Lightning to USB-C.
No.
It just means you do need another cable if you've got existing AirPods Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I typically charge mine on Qi charging anyway.
Oh, of course, because they support they'll charge on MagSafe, won't they, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So actually, it's maybe only a problem if you are someone who doesn't use wireless charging at all. Now,
and this is a lot like the 30-pin dock connector switch, where it's going to be a little annoying for a bit until everything moves to USB-C. And I think once even like the keyboard, mouse, and things like that are there move over, no one will ever remember Lightning the same way. Do any of us remember 30? I was at a business recently, and they have a charging station. There was a 30-pin dock connector on the charging station. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
If anything, this is probably the less annoying than the transition to Lightning, because other stuff uses USB-C. So, like, everything on my iMac is USB-C, my MacBook is USB-C, I've got iPad mini, which is USB-C. I've only really got one device left over now that's Lightning. That's on an iPad Pro. So, and
of course, because it was 10.5, which still had,
and the fact that everything else in, like, it isn't an Apple thing. It's everything else has got it. It's great. So
that is true, and it also means now you're not in that situation where you go around to a friend's house who's got maybe a Samsung or another phone, and you can't use charging cable.
Like, I don't trust at work charging cables, but I always hate it whenever someone's like, "Today I was charging a cable." I'm like, "You have an Android. I've got an iPhone."
I mean, you should never trust just random charging cables. That's probably not a good idea.
No. Always use protection.
Like, literally, absolutely. Or bring your own cable. Yeah, no. Well, then, actually, I say that, you can get wall plugs that are now, that are spiked and that are hacked and things like that. So be careful what you plug into, folks, basically.
One interesting thing on the phone as well is they are upgrading a lot of the connectivity again. That they're having ultra wide band as well, like the Apple Watch. And one interesting thing they're adding to the emergency SOS, they are now adding in roadside assistance.
in the US.
In the US, and it is covered for under AAA membership, which I have one to the end of this year. I got to decide if I want it next year because it's incredibly expensive, especially if you don't break down. I mean, I break down all the time, but if my car doesn't break down.
I was going to say there's a difference there, Jay. It doesn't cover you for those kind of breakdowns.
I know, that's what my therapist is for. But anyway, they're going to have it available. It's going to be covered for AAA members and separately for non-members. The one thing everyone's asking, both about the emergency SOS and these roadside assistance, they again said it's satellite service is free for 2 years. There has been no talk about what the costs are for this going forward.
Because your people who bought iPhone 14s are into the end of their first year.
Yeah.
So next year, Apple will have to announce the pricing.
What if they either give you Apple One a discount if you have Apple One, or they tie it into Apple One?
Well, that would make sense. I could see them tying it into Apple One or iCloud Plus.
Yeah. Not only will you share with your family the family plan, but you also will protect their life with the assistance of roadside assistance and emergency SOS. Sorry.
Now, by the way, connectivity, they've improved ultra-wideband, but it's been there for a long time. I think it's been there since the 12.
11.
Yeah.
Oh, 11.
11. Yeah, that's right, because I use them on mine. I just don't have LiDAR. That's the one I don't have.
Oh, I'm getting very confused. Yes, you don't have LiDAR. But LiDAR came in with the 12.
That's right.
Right, okay. However, USB-C on the 15 is only USB 2.0 speeds. Now, as Alex said, it's probably because of the controller chip we're using, because hang on, so it's the A17 Pro in the Pro, and I think, isn't it the A16 Bionic in the 15?
Yep, A16 Bionic. Yep, I wrote that down.
Yeah, now, this just means that it's USB-C, I think they both do fast charging.
Yep.
But the iPhone 15 will only transfer at USB 2 speeds. Now, is that a problem? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Someone rightly pointed out that Samsung's done that before. They released quite a high-end phone and shipped it with a lower spec cable and a lower spec transfer speed as well, and no one seemed to care. I think it's fine. The majority of people don't plug their phone into anything, so
that's true. Yeah. Actually, that's a very good point. Yeah,
and generally, probably Wi-Fi in some situations will be faster than, and they transfer over AirDrop or they transfer over iCloud and stuff. So I think it's fine.
I think you make a very good point there, Alex. Actually, that's a fair point. Yeah, because like AirDrop is very fast, especially if you've got half decent Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Yeah, and now with the AirDrop change in 17. Even if you have slow Wi-Fi, it'll continue even after you leave the person.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool in itself. Like, that by itself is a really cool feature. Now,
there was also there's Wi-Fi 6E, which is a spec revision to AX, Wi-Fi AX. So it basically just means that the iPhone 15 now supports 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi, along with the MacBook. I think some latest MacBooks support it as well.
The M2s do, all the M2 stuff does, I think.
Yes, that's right.
6E. But Alex, dipping into your network knowledge for a minute, is there as much 6E gear out there? I think there's more in the consumer space, isn't there?
Yeah. So there's a mixed bag of stuff. Ubiquiti's got one or two 6 gigahertz devices out there, and from what I've seen, I haven't played with it myself. It's very quick. You can get up to 2 gigabit.
Whoa.
Over 6E, 6 gigahertz, because it's so interference free, and the spectrum for it's so huge. It's definitely helping the iPhone be future proof, because if people keep these phones for 4 years, and if for some weird reason 6 gigahertz takes off quickly, at least the phones people have got will support it down the line, which is good, even if it isn't as widely used right now.
But as home users start to get
exactly
multi-gigabit, because, hey, Alex will tell you, I've had some fun and games with my home internet.
Curse you.
Well, so I've got Wi-Fi 6 here, and I think are you Wi-Fi 6 as well, Alex?
Yeah.
And I am too as well here.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, because I
you
got
UL6s
with Wi-Fi.
You in one of the UL6s?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. But unless you've got a multi-gigabit connection or need to move a lot of data across your network, Wi-Fi 6 is still pretty good, right? I mean, it's...
Oh, yeah.
I think the reason Jay reminded me we're doing a project next week and we're only putting in Wi-Fi 6. You're like, are we putting 6E in for his project? I'm like, no, because the access points are so expensive.
Yep. That's what I figured and all that. But it's still going to be better than what I put in there 10 years ago. So,
well, yes, indeed. But hey, it's all good. Alex, sorry.
I need to clarify something, sorry. The iPhone 15 Pro models only support 6E, not the iPhone 15s.
Okay, so verse 6, I guess, then.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, probably to do with the bigger size of the Pro model, because they even said, like, some of the stuff that they do with the cameras, we'll go into
a
little bit, was because of the bigger size of the phone.
Well, yeah, and look, let's be honest, the cameras are really impressive. Just a quick question. We should probably talk about, because on the 15, you've got your traditional ring silent switch.
Mm.
Alex, you've had, a 15 Pro for 5 days now?
Friday, so...
Friday.
Yeah, so... I don't know how many.
5 days, roughly.
Yeah.
The action button, which is now it's not a slider, it's a customizable button.
Mm-hmm.
Have you changed it from...
So... I always leave my phone on mute anyway because I've got an Apple Watch. So it doesn't really bother me that much. I was playing around with what I should use it for. Some very clever stuff people have been doing online. Someone's managed to customize it to a shortcut on the Tesla app to make their Tesla fart, which is quite funny.
Love it.
But what I've done is I've got it for Shazam, so I just hold it down and it Shazams a song.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So I'm not really. I'm going to play around with what to do with that. I'm not really sure, but. It's quite cool.
Question I had on that: does that change the action in certain apps, like when you're taking a photo? Does it?
Someone's managed to get to do certain things based on how the phone's orientated. So if you hold it landscape, it will take a photo. I haven't worked it out yet. It will take a photograph and do something else if it's portrait. There's a heck of a lot of stuff. Again, Stephen Robles has done a video going really deep into what you can do there.
And I just saw Mac Stories had a thing where someone's now made it do two actions on the app.
Yeah.
I need to look more into it, but they're already developing.
Because you can make it via shortcut, so it can effectively do
anything.
Now, there is one question I have with that. That orientation's a great idea, except you could already fire the shutter from when you import in landscape mode because the volume buttons act as a shutter.
No, it's not. It's not a shutter I was on about. Sorry, it's if you got the phone in landscape, you can press the action button to launch the camera.
Oh, that's even cooler then. Okay.
Yeah, and then if you got it in portrait, it'll do something else. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Can I make my joke?
Go on.
No one's locking my orientation.
Jeez. All right. Hang on. Don't you mean no one's toggling your orientation?
Bro, no one's talking about orientation. But, I think we're going to move on past this.
Dear.
Well, one thing I want to mention in this, before we head into the Pro, is that there's a big focus again on recycled materials. I was very much impressed with this. All through the presentation was a focus on doing things that are going to be good for the environment, reusing materials. I mean, I'm wondering if some of the materials they use. Do you remember a couple presentations ago where they had the robot who would like disassemble phone? We have a name for it, didn't we?
Daisy is the new one.
Daisy, okay,
I think.
And I'm wondering if they're using those resources in these for all these like recycled materials.
Well, probably, but it is good to see. I guess speaking of materials, Alex is the only one of us who's got a 15 Pro. How is the titanium? What's it like in terms of picking up fingerprints? Is it as bad as people say?
I don't know. So I went for the white one. I went for the white one, and I've had it in a case since Friday, so I couldn't really give you information, but I've seen some people having problems with the blue one. But I got the fine woven case, and I picked it up a minute ago, and I noticed there's a stain on it already.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, but I quite like these fine woven cases. But again, the titanium, it looks cool, and it's quite. One thing I noticed between the 11 Pro and this one is how light this is, because the 11 Pro is heavy. So
yeah, the titanium is very light, and it does pick up fingerprints.
I love this. Jay, by the way, for those of you none of you can see this, Jay is playing with her engagement ring. But I am warning you right now, if that gets dropped in the middle of a recording and you can't find it, you ain't getting a new one.
It's on my finger, dear. It's
Good.
on my finger.
Good.
Now, I'm glad that they went for lighter weight, because I will admit the 15, the 11 Pro Max can get very heavy sometimes, especially when you're using it for a long period of time. And like, I've been the one to drop it on my face in bed before. And
I still want to know how you did that, but okay, right. I
had it on my face and I went boom. But now they were mentioning that the glass, Alex, is a lot better. Would you say that the glass is much better on it, or is that still like marketing speak?
I think it's supposed to be more durable. I don't really know. As I said, it's been in a case for since I've had it, so I don't know. I think that might be a marketing thing, to be honest, but it might be better than it was. So
one of the things that they said that they especially mentioned with this is all the things that the camera can do, because there was a huge focus for the Pro on camera that like has 5x optical zoom, sending RAW to Mac, recording ProRes, 4K 60, not just 4K 30. One of the things is, if you already mentioned this, because you mentioned something about Prolog, but they also now support ACES for color workflows.
I think that's similar. Yeah, and
it can now capture spatial video for the Vision Pro.
That's right. Yeah, definitely.
Have you done any experimenting with the spatial video?
No, I have not. No,
because I don't think any of us are in a position at the moment where we can. I want a Vision Pro when it comes out, but budget.
Very cool.
I don't have $3,500. I need it for the Visa first.
Well, yeah, if people want to donate $3,500 to pay for our visas, then we can maybe consider one. But
Now, one thing that I did like about the spatial video part, they were doing it in landscape mode. That it sounds like because it looked like you have to do it in landscape. Not
because of how the cameras are angled, orientated. Sorry. Yeah.
Now, Alex, are you much of a gamer on your phone?
No, I never play. I used to play games on my phone when I was younger, but I don't really play games that much.
Because I was pretty impressed at one thing. If they can get developer support, same thing that we talked about at WWC with the gaming mode, how right now it seems to be like basically Resident Evil and stuff like that is what they have signed on for, but they are having and Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming to the iPhone 15 Pro.
Yeah, it's supposed to be console level stuff, isn't it?
Well, does that surprise anyone given how powerful Apple? Yeah.
It's more what surprises me is the developer support, because that's the biggest problem is developer support on all this stuff, because that's one thing that Apple needs, that Microsoft has, is developers. But like they are like every year we see games come out. Like Epic's Blade game. I'm trying to remember what that was. Like every year we see these major developers. We see this big push for gaming. I mean, of course, I play games on Apple Arcade. I mean, I do a little bit of gaming, but like I still go to like my Steam Deck and my PC. Oh, Steam Deck is my PC, but I still go to another device for gaming.
That's what I do, and
I'm intrigued by it. But until they can get developers to actually take time for the iPhone, I still don't see it taking off in the way that they're hoping it will.
Yeah.
I can absolutely agree with that. My only hope is if developers do get on board with the iPhone for gaming, that could potentially have a path to console level gaming on my Mac without any real additional work.
Yeah. With the silicone, yes.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, here's the thing. Can't you run iPhone apps on Apple Silicon? Actually, I haven't even tried that yet.
It's fun as long as the developer chooses it, because developers can choose not to allow it there.
That's correct.
As long as they do.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that, which is really, really embarrassing, isn't it? I forgot I had an Apple Silicon Mac, so there you go. That explains a lot of stuff, right?
So
anyway,
Alex, I think we've gone through a lot of the stuff from the presentation. Unless there's anything you think that we're missing.
No, I think that's all good. There was some talk last few days about the phones overheating. I haven't seen any. Well, I haven't used it loads for what other people have used it for, but I think they've been recording prologue footage for minutes and minutes on end, like half an hour plus, and it does tend to overheat. I'm not entirely sure. There was some mention about titanium's less of a thermal conductor than stainless steel is, and they're now using the glass to dissipate the heat, and that may make it feel like it's warmer. I'm not really sure what's going on there, so we shall see. I think it's all right.
But let's be honest, some DSLRs are overheated for recording too long as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly an uncommon problem in pro video when you talk about huge files.
Yep. I've got a DJI Pocket 2 camera, and I used it last month for filming outside, and it overheated in 15-20 minutes recording 4K 24, so it's not uncommon.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I was at the air show with James, it was my phone was getting hot sometimes, and
yep.
I mean, with these small things, it makes sense. Now,
I think we forget that they're actually computers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What has been your experience? I think as we're closing out, what's been your experience moving from the 11 to the 15?
I said this to James the other day. It was 120 hertz. That's literally the biggest thing for me. I remember when the 120 hertz displays came out, I went to go and use them in the Apple Store. I was like, oh wow, this is actually so buttery. And it's more noticeable than it is on an iPad, because I've got an iPad Pro with 120 hertz for ages, and it's so nice. All the animations are so smooth, and that's the biggest upgrade for me.
And would you say like apps feel like they're much more responsive, like overall, like
oh yeah, yeah, a lot faster. And then the standby feature as well, which I bought a MagSafe stand just for the phone, and just have the standby feature. That is amazing. One thing I have turned off though, I have turned off the always on display. I'm not a massive fan of that. So that's one thing I've disabled, but for like just day-to-day stuff. But when you use standby, the always on display stays on, and it goes off after a little while, and then you can wave at it to turn it back on. But yeah, I've got very simple needs for a phone.
I definitely want one, and I can't justify it. I have said to James that even after this event, once my phone cannot accept another iOS update, that's when I'm going to upgrade, unless I somehow get a really good deal or something like that. Because I'm through in the US, I'm on Mint, which doesn't have any carrier deals. So,
and I mean, personally, I have to be honest and say, if I was going to do a device plan now, having been with Vodafone, so I'm no longer with Vodafone for my phone. Mm-hmm. My device plan's still with them. Honestly, I think I'd go for the iPhone upgrade program.
Yeah. That's if they offered it here, yeah.
I think they do, don't they?
I don't think they do.
Hang on. I'm pretty sure they do. I thought they did.
If they did, I would have done it. Oh, they do. Oh, you have to go into the store to do it.
Right, okay, so you can't do it online.
No,
right.
that sucks. But, okay.
It's exclusive at the and like I can't get financing on my Apple Card anymore because I'm not with one of the major 3 providers.
Huh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Because
interesting. Oh, really? Okay.
I'm with T-Mobile, but through T-Mobile's provider Mint.
Ah, okay.
Oh, it just got bored, didn't it?
Yeah.
Acquired, yeah.
And they claim for right now. Now they did increase my data cap for free, so without increasing my bill. So I'm like, okay. So Alex, any closing thoughts?
I think in the last few years, I think iPhone's got a bit more boring. I guess there's more incremental changes every year, and it's not necessarily a bad thing because we're on the probably the 16th or 17th generation of iPhone now. Possibly even more than that. I can't keep track. And naturally, with this sort of thing, it's going to be less of an upgrade every year because it's such a mature product. But what Apple are doing is great, and they're not expecting to buy a new phone every year. So the phones don't have to be as huge every year. But with the limited time I've had with it so far, it's really good.
I really like the marriage between the software and the hardware, because even like the fact that like my phone got a huge feature upgrade just through the software alone this year. I mean, and every year you get more improvements, and I get some of the benefits of some of the stuff. Not as many as if I upgraded, but still, it's that part's pretty incredible. Is it shows when you can work on both the hardware and software, you can do some amazing things with it.
Yeah. Then we had a Mac update today as well. So,
Monday Sonoma's out now. word of warning, of course, podcasters, streamers, make sure that all your software and your interfaces work before you upgrade.
Which is why I have not updated, because I knew I have a podcast today and I knew I have streaming this week. I was like, I don't want to have James be, Jay, what the hell are you doing? What?
So I have and that actually brings us on to an interesting question, because I want to ask you both something. So Jay, you're not upgrading it on because obviously we can't afford it. Now, if your your mirrorless camera died today, do you think at the point where we're at with an iPhone 15 Pro, for example, that you could use that as your primary streaming camera?
Yes, especially with the MagSafe adapter. Plop that up there on a MagSafe adapter and go to town with continuity camera.
Okay. Now, of course, that's one of the cool things. We need to try this out. By the way, Alex, I don't know if you've tried this. FaceTime continuity camera on Apple TV looks so cool. I want to try that out at some point soon.
I haven't tried it yet, so...
It's very easy to set up.
Yep.
We were trying last night, but it was right. But we were having issues.
We're having some issues, and I know what they might be. Now, Alex, question for you as someone who produces video. You've got a DJI Pocket.
Yep.
Do you see yourself? Because Jay's potentially looking at, well, not potentially. If her camera died, she would go for an iPhone. Do you think there's a point at which you'd say, actually, the iPhone's not good enough anymore? I want a professional camera.
I think the way I shoot stuff is because I'm a one-man person. Like I do it all myself. With the DJI cameras, you can connect the phone to the camera remotely, and then you make sure you're in frame without without going backward and forward. So I use the phone as a wireless display essentially for the phone. And there are certain things I do use the phone for when I'm filming. So if I need filler shots and things, it's easy to whip out a phone and shoot them. But for me, no, the phone hasn't replaced a dedicated filming camera just yet, but I do use the phone as a continuity camera when it works for podcasts. So
nice, yeah, because you obviously do a lot of video podcasts for your show. I mean, final question before we both wrap up, and I want to pose this to you, and I haven't asked either of you this: are the iPhones too expensive, or do you get through the combination of good hardware and really good software support? Because again, Marcus Brownlee did a great short on this many times ago, and I think he's reposted it recently. Apple are not slowing down your old iPhones. What they are doing is making sure that your battery can still deliver the most performance.
I'm glad he made that video, to be fair, because there's just so many, because most people were saying, I'm not going to update my phone, but it's like, why? But yeah, I'm glad he made that video. And if you keep a phone for 4 years, like some man maths, it costs about 250 quid a year just to have that phone. So for 4 years, it's not and judging, depending on how much you use that device, use it every day for hours and hours, use it for all sorts of things, and the amount of things it's got on there for safety now, like the satellite stuff, the crash detection, that sort of thing, it's worth it, I think.
Well, I mean, you're on a 4-year cycle. Mine will be hang on, when did I get my 13? Mine will be 3 years next year. Now, chances are, unless it dies, I'm probably not going to upgrade.
Yeah. I really am. I think it is too expensive if you are going for the top of the line model, same year, every single year, then it is. Mm-hmm. But I really I think if you look at, okay, do I need the 15? Okay, maybe 15 is a little bit too expensive. I might go for the 13, the 14, even the 12. I know somebody who just bought an 11. I kid you not, because they got a really good deal on 11. I think if you are looking strictly at the MSRP from Apple on the highest, latest model, then yeah, of course it's going to be expensive. But you can look for carrier deals. You can look for the iPhone upgrade program or refurbs. There's a lot of ways you can go. And yeah, I mean, you both make a good point. This phone is one of my daily drivers for so many things. I use it in my iPad probably the most, even more than my Mac in many regards. I mean, the Mac is a business tool, but I use it a lot. And I think in many regards, it's probably one of my main computers. How many things I do on my phone at all times. Yeah. Every single day. It's like it's the first thing I see when I wake up.
And I liked Alex's maths there. £250 because they are meant to be a long-term investment. They do get software updates. You know, my mum's 10S is still getting software updates. Now, I thought, my dad's phone's not getting updated anymore, but that's not true because Apple has started being a bit more... They're doing more of updates to older versions of iOS. Alex, didn't you say an older iPad of yours still got an iOS 12 update or something?
Yes, we've got an iPad Air for one use case, and yeah, it gets iOS 12 updates now and again for security, that sort of thing. It's slow,
right?
It still works for what we need it for. So
I don't think you can say that Apple are overpriced. I think Apple still, out of all the phone providers, still deliver the best security updates, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, Alex, thank you so much for joining us as always.
No problem.
Now, I'm trying to remember how many podcasts you've got these days. I think it's 1 to 3.
3, yeah.
3. So, do you want to tell people where they can find all of your shows? And there's something for everyone. There's, if you like cars, you've got Charging Status. If you like ubiquity networking, which we absolutely do,
yep,
you've got UI Chat. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then, of course, Alex's wonderful Creator Spotlight interview show with, basically other creators is there as well. So, Alex, where can people find all 3 shows?
So they can find the website at theinterface.uk. There's all sorts of, as James said, podcasts. There's news, reviews, and different things and guides and that sort of thing. And there's also podcasts. So theinterface.uk/podcast. There'll be a feed of all the different shows we've got. There is definitely something for everyone. So, and we've also got, at some point later this year, we've got season 3 of Creator Spotlight coming out. So that's so we've done 2 seasons so far. We've got 10 episodes each. So all good.
Perfect. Awesome. Jay, thank you. I mean, I really think, by the way, can I say a huge thank you to Jay for making extensive notes on the keynote and doing such a good job of just, rather than us going through line by line by line, which we realized after our WWDC event didn't work for this show. And that was a discussion between me, Jay, and to be fair, Alex helped us with this as well. But effectively, we are your Apple event team at Crosswires now. And we wanted to do this more of our opinions. And, it's been great with Alex having fun. But Jay, any final thoughts from yourself?
Can I just say something really sappy?
Go on.
You want to know how we met?
Yeah.
I guested on an Apple event episode.
You did.
In 2018 in October. And this October, I'll have known you 5 years. All thanks to Apple. So see, these events are also one of my...
Does that mean we need to invite Air Force One to the wedding?
If Craig would love you at the wedding, we would gladly bring out Craig and all that. And I mean, maybe Tim and his partner will come out. I mean, how cool would that be? We would have like.
Jay, I'm going to stop you there before you invite the entirety of Apple to our wedding.
Anybody at Apple, you can come as long as you pay for your own flights.
And bring us nice wedding gifts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tim, can I get a titanium iPhone to go with my titanium engagement ring?
All right. Make sure you head over to crosswires.net for all our latest episodes, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Join us over on the Discord. Come and email us, podcast@crosswires.net. And thank you very much, everyone.
And also, I want to always put this out there. I know that James and Alex and I are Alex fans. I know that James and Alex and I are Apple fans, but we definitely want to say we are very much open to hearing your perspective on Android too, because one thing at Crosswires, we do not do fanboy wars.
We don't do platform wars. No.
Exactly. That we are very much each platform has pros and cons, and different people have different reasons why. So if there's anything on this, on like why you switch from Apple to Android or switch back, or things that you like on Android, please definitely let us know. Cause I think one thing we would love to do sometime is like hear about like people's perspectives on like some of the Google events. Cause I watch some of those and they're really cool.
Yeah.
So
awesome. All right, Jay, hit the button and we'll roll the outro. Thanks for listening to this episode of Crosswires. We hope you've enjoyed our discussion and we'd love to hear your thoughts. So please drop us a note over to podcast@crosswires.net.
You can also drop us a comment on the post, or if you're a GoodPod user, why not start a discussion there too?
You can also join our new Discord server at crosswires.net/Discord. We've got forum channels for each episode and we'd love you to join the discussion there.
You can also follow us on Mastodon at crosswires@mastodon.social.
And of course, you can find the show in all the good podcast apps. And And all the really bad ones, too.
More of our content, head on over to crosswires.net/YouTube for all our videos. And keep an eye on our Twitch channel at crosswires.net/live for our upcoming streams.
If you like what you heard, please do drop a review in your podcast directory of choice. It really does help spread the word about the show.
And of course, if you can spare even the smallest amount of financial support, we'd be incredibly grateful. And you can support us at ko-fi.com/crosswires. That is ko-fi.com/crosswires.
Until next time, thanks for listening.